My name is John Atkinson. The reason for creating this diversity and inclusion documentary video was to raise awareness on how youth can work on including and embracing others that do not look or believe as they do. In this documentary, I will take a deep dive into the worlds and experiences of minority groups that are typically harassed and discriminated against. These groups include the following diverse mix-ups: race and ethnicity, religion and culture, gender orientation, intellect, which can be high or low, physical being, too big, too small, too tall, too short, disabilities, socioeconomic status, rich or poor, and language barriers. Most importantly, I want you, yes you in the audience, to pay attention to the solutions and actions that each group has proposed that will give insight into how to approach, treat, and embrace their race, culture, or orientation. In this documentary, the youth identities will be concealed following youth protection laws with Boy Scouts of America. To quote the infamous poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou, "It is time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is beauty and there is strength." So sit back and enjoy the incredible journey of discovery, insight, and awareness.
Hello, my name is Anthony Newbold, and I am the principal at Centennial High School in beautiful Roswell, Georgia. There's a quote that has now become my favorite from Maya Angelou that says that in diversity, there is beauty and there is strength. Here at Centennial, we are beautiful and we are strong because of the inclusion that takes place here at Centennial every day. This diversity and inclusion video has been directed by one of our own, Mr. John Atkinson. And although John is only a high school senior, he has already begun to make positive change in our school and in our community. We want you to use this video as a catalyst to find out how you can impact change in your community. The purpose of this video is to educate its viewers on the discrimination that minorities face on a day-to-day basis. And while you may have seen discrimination or may have been discriminated against yourself, we want you to use this video as a force for change. We hope you enjoy the video. Let us begin.
Hi, my name is Lori Henry and I'm the mayor of Roswell, Georgia. Roswell is the fifth largest city in the state of Georgia. We have approximately 100,000 citizens, and I am proud to be the first female mayor of the city of Roswell. One of the things I'd like to say, a difference between men and women in the corporate world as well as the political world, is that men are seen as very assertive, and that's a positive leadership role. Women are not viewed as assertive. Women are generally viewed as being mean, and it's not considered a leadership attribute. With my fellow elected officials, I'm the only female mayor in North Fulton County, and every once in a while I do get a sense that they would be more comfortable if I wasn't in the room. Everybody is very gracious, but I think sometimes people just need to adjust and they're not quite certain how to adjust. I would really like to see people in the future think about that. What is it you want in a leader? And it shouldn't matter if that leader is a man or a woman. I see the world as improving as far as discrimination of any groups. I'll just give Roswell as an example. 35 years ago, Roswell was not a diverse community. And now what we're seeing is we're very diverse, and people actually want to move to Roswell because of the diversity. Parents of our children in our schools want their children to be brought up in a school that is diverse, in a neighborhood that's diverse, in a city that's diverse, because those are things that when you grow up in that environment, it's much more inclusive and you don't see other people as alien. One thing that I would tell anyone, and I raised my daughter with this, it's that don't internalize it. You are who you are, and don't let other people influence your thoughts. Don't let other people get in your brain. You know who you are, you know what you can do in life, and that's all you need. And if you can, let it roll off your back and move on, because the people that are doing it are the ones that need the help. And I hope that they can get the help.
A microaggression is something someone might say that kind of makes your cheeks feel hot, and you're not sure right away, but you feel like you're being insulted. It's a comment or action that often unconsciously or unintentionally expresses a prejudiced attitude towards a member of a marginalized group, such as a racial minority. We can change the world and make it a better place. It is in your hands to make a difference. Nelson Mandela.
In school, teachers, you got students, racially discriminated against Muslims, Jews, various cases of blacks being racially profiled against. So while we were selling popcorn, we were trying to get people to support our troop, pay for the money for the popcorn, support us. And we asked this white man to come up and support our troop. And he said, we do not associate with you kind of people. And people like us, for blacks, for example, we take that to heart. Like this one famous rapper said, Logic, he said, no matter what race, religion, color, creed, or sexual orientation you are, you should respect everybody.
Now we will hear from Professor Tony Vandermeer.
I am a senior lecturer in the Africana Studies Department at University of Massachusetts, Boston. And then the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments began to abolish slavery. They also took a vote to make Black people citizens, which was the 14th Amendment. The Civil Rights Amendments during that period has not really fully been enacted. You had to come up to the civil rights movement, where other legislations had to be put in place to ensure that Black people have gotten their rights. They still don't have their rights because they still treat Black people as if they're non-persons. You can see this across the country, the disparities in terms of income gaps, where they live, housing, healthcare. So many people can be prejudiced, but when you have power, because we all are prejudiced in our own ways, when you have power to stop people from getting a job, going to a school, living in an apartment, that's a different situation. The crazy thing about all of this is that we all share a common ancestry. Everybody comes from Africa. So if Black people are inferior, that means everybody is inferior. It creates great disorder and harm and discomfort in youth in terms of their ability to be more productive because of the psychological damage that has been done to them. Racism is still alive and well. And what racism does is that it puts a stigma on Black people that begin to internalize their question of themselves and their identity. One of the great poets, Amiri Baraka, said, if you ask why, you will get wise. So we have to ask questions. We have to raise questions of everyone and everywhere, and then we'll deduct and we'll start to find solutions to how we need to continue to change in order to be better people and live in a better society.
This nation is never beyond remedy. It is never beyond hope. It is never too broken to fix. We will be here and we are going to rock the world. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I see, because we have a lot of immigrants coming into America now trying to get a new life, and they're all coming to schools. And so oftentimes I see we're all put under a stereotype. I have had teachers come up to me thinking I don't know English simply because of my color. I've had administrators put me under a stereotype thinking that I am a drug dealer or a bad kid. And I've seen that happen with my friends. I've seen that even happen with other teachers. I have had other students of other colors come up to me saying, oh, I thought you'd be so different. You're so nice in real life, because they thought I would be rude, or they thought that I'm just a low-class citizen that doesn't know any better. But in reality, I'm a nice person. I get straight A's. I don't do any type of drugs and I don't sell drugs. But because of simply my race, they put me under a category. We also get hate on us because people think we're just here for the bad. People think we're here to steal their jobs. No, we're here because we want a better life. My grandparents came here to make a better life for my 7 tíos and tías. And they did that. But it was so hard just because of their color. They had to work as farmers and maids because no other job would hire them. They still worked. They did as much as they could. They took the jobs that nobody else wanted to. And oftentimes Americans take that as they're stealing my job. I think it starts with both sides, with the Latinos and with the other races and parents. No child is born racist. No child is born to learn to hate another race. And the next part starts with us, Kind of like that saying, just because one person does it doesn't mean the rest will. If you see one Latino being a drug dealer, that doesn't mean all of us will be. That doesn't mean all of us are going to mow lawns. That doesn't mean all of us are going to be maids. So I feel like us as a Latino community needs to better ourselves so we don't get put under that stereotype. A lot of my friends in high school, they had so much potential to be so great, but because they were put under a stereotype, they ended up becoming that stereotype. And half of them dropped out, half of them ran away from home. And I think as a community, we need to support each other, help each other, and better ourselves so we can show that we're not what they think we are.
Now let's hear from the president of the Georgia Latino Law Foundation, Ana Maria Martinez.
Different treatment based on sort of racial disparities. I think that Latinos have the same challenges as other people. A lot of the issues that we have in the world comes from fear of what is different and fear of the unknown. And what I have found through my own experiences is that when you ask questions in a respectful way, you will learn, regardless of ethnicity or country of origin. We have basically the same responses to things and feelings and fears. Specifically as it comes to sort of the Latino community, I really encourage people to travel. When you understand the situation of where they came from, it'll help you see things through their eyes and have a better understanding of why they're making those decisions. One of the best ways that I've heard it explained is that encouraging diversity is inviting people to the party, but living inclusion is inviting them to dance.
Find out who you are and be that person. That's what your soul was put on this earth to be. Find the truth, live that truth, and everything else will come.
I've most certainly been treated differently. There was someone I was friends with and we were talking, and they made a slightly offensive joke to the LGBT community, and I said something about it saying, hey, please don't talk about that negativity around me, and they proceeded to make fun of me, mentioning people that I knew that were a part of the LGBT and bashing them, and then bashing me, saying that I was a freak or I was one of them. It's still around, whether it be subtitle or not. You'll say something and they'll stop talking to you, avoid you, because they don't see you as a person. They see you as, oh, you're that one weird like gay kid. I like to just be treated as a regular person. So the number one thing I would say is just be respectful and treat others as they are, as people.
When my mother found out I was bisexual, she told me, are you actually sure? And I said, yeah, I like girls and guys. And she's like, have you ever kissed a girl? And I told her, no. She's like, then you're just confused. You're just a little not sure. You just haven't found the right guy yet. I told her, like, I don't have to kiss a girl to know that I like them. And she's like, this whole thing you're like obsessed with, it's just a phase. It's gonna go away. In my own family, they all are very Catholic and they dislike anything LGBT mentioned. So they always talk about it, and it hurts me because when I'm in my room, I can just hear them saying, oh, gays are going to be the destruction of the world, or gays are ruining everything, gays are doing this, gays are doing that. I would love for people to actually be nicer towards each other, or like accept them, not because of what they like or who they like or how they identify as, but as who they are, because the personality counts, not just the person or how they look.
I'm sorry about your background, but you're living through it, you're struggling through it, you're surviving. Pray the best for you.
Thanks.
Coming up next, let's listen to Dr. Sabra Katzweiss.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sabra Katzweiss. I'm an assistant professor in adolescent medicine at Boston Children's Hospital. I also have an appointment at Harvard Medical School and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. TQ youth face a wide range of discrimination and victimization based on being LGBTQ. And this can range from microaggressions to more extreme forms of victimization, such as bullying or verbal harassment or even physical assault, and even to the point of experiencing rejection from family, like being kicked out of the home. These different forms of discrimination and victimization take a really negative toll, and they might also have negative consequences for their mental health as well. So LGBTQ youth often have more depression and anxiety, or even suicidality than other youth. So I think the first thing is really respecting people's differences and the diversity that already exists. So one thing that I don't think people necessarily realize is that it can be scary to let other people know that you are a member of the LGBTQ community, because you're not always sure how someone is going to react, right? So I am married to a woman and we have a child, and I'm often assumed to be straight, but I'm not. I'm queer. When I'm assumed to be straight in different situations, I have to decide in that moment, is it safe for me to tell this person, to correct this person and tell them that I'm actually married to a woman? Is it important for me to do that? That extra burden that LGBTQ people have to go through in their lives is something that people who are straight or cisgendered aren't necessarily thinking about. It's important to have those, at least a few people in your life who are really supportive and go to bat for you. And those people may or may not be within your family. They may or may not be in your friend group. Who is it most important to come out to? If you're in a situation that you're not completely sure if it's safe to be out, you kind of have to make that decision of, is it worth it to be out, to be completely authentic? And sometimes it is worth it. Or is it worth it to just be out to people who you know are going to be supportive? That's a really individual decision for people. I live in a very progressive place, and it feels very comfortable for me to be out in my personal life and in my work life, and it feels really different.
A lot of different flowers make a bouquet.
My coworker and I are we both wear the hijab. So we get asked maybe like twice a day minimum if we're related. We had this one customer welcome us to America. He said, girls, welcome to America. We're lucky and happy to have you here. I looked at him and we were both so stunned and shocked because we've never gotten anything like that before. I was born here, so I've lived in Georgia for 18 years, and she was born here as well, so it was kind of shocking. Another time was at the DMV. I got asked for my immigration papers when I was getting my license. There's no reason for you to be assuming certain things just because of the stereotypes that you've heard. So that's a really big thing. I want to be treated like anybody else would want to be treated. Respect, kindness. I don't feel like you should be judged off of your looks or the stereotypical opinions that you've heard. I really feel like you should judge someone based off of their brains and not their skin color or their race or their religion. That doesn't define who you are at all. Every person is their own person. You should have your opinion on someone and not just assume and go along with the stereotypes.
Now we will listen to the program director from Gwinnett Technical College, Umber Hanif.
When I get the feeling that I'm about to be treated differently, I make sure I speak up, because a lot of times, unfortunately, I think that people treat others differently because they think they can, and I make sure to speak up, let them hear my voice, and kind of try to prevent that from happening, and hopefully, maybe they feel a little bit bad in the meantime. Every town is different, and even places within town are very different. Like if you look at public education, let's just take Black history in America, right? The consequences of slavery are never spoken about. If you look at Islamic history, very little, if any at all, credit is given to the contributions of Islamic history in medicine and in education and women's rights and in math. What the Muslim community can do and other minority groups can do is they need to get politically involved. They need to get out of their bubbles. They have to demand more. What really needs to happen is that minorities need to take these problems into their own hands, and they need to become more active in their communities and start change from the very bottom.
Our ability to reach unity and diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization. Mahatma Gandhi.
I'm not a native speaker, so I have some accents, and sometimes when people didn't hear me, I just get so shy and I don't want to continue, and then I couldn't feel that I get into their conversation and I'm quite alone. So gradually I just started to stick with my own people. It's just not good for the intercommunication between different cultural groups and everything. And sometimes I really want to talk to them, but I'm a little bit shy, and I'm worried that they couldn't understand me because of my accent. It's really not that hard as long as you try to start the conversation, and If they didn't hear it, just try to repeat the point again, maybe louder. Try to ask them like about their culture. If they're interested, you could talk more about your own culture. Then the conversation continues. Just don't be afraid. They're individuals as you, like they're human and they're not that scary. So just keep on.
Finally, let's hear from the Director of Development at the Anti-Defamation League, Erica Greenblatt.
So my name is Erica Greenblatt. I am the Director of Development for the ADL Southeast region, which covers Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee. I'm originally from New York City and moved down to Atlanta last year, and I'm loving the Southern life. So I work for the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, which generally is an anti-hate organization. Moving to Atlanta, moving to the South, I was actually a little bit nervous about the type of people that I might encounter and thinking that perhaps there would be more discrimination coming my way, especially considering the history of what my family has been through before. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors. It was just a few months ago. It was in Tennessee, in Rutherford County. A middle school was learning about the history of the Holocaust. And the teacher felt, the best way to teach about the Holocaust would be to perform a simulation. So you had a student play Hitler, she had some students play Nazi. Now this is a group of 10-year-olds or an 11-year-olds. So you can imagine things kind of went horribly wrong. A number of students were, using the Nazi salute and started doing that in and out of the classroom. And this one girl started taking real offense to it. The kids kind of took wind of that, and then they started extra bullying her. So they started doing the Nazi salute directly to her. They would plan to, when she would walk into the class, I'll do the Nazi salute. In the middle of class, she'd get up and said, stop doing that, stop doing that. And then she actually ended up getting called to the principal's office. And the other kids didn't get in trouble. It kind of sets this tone that doing the right thing is not right, that once you kind of go along with the crowd. As far as what the kids are going to be, how they're going to be feeling growing up, it's really up to the school and their parents, and it depends on what kind of programming that they bring in and education to hopefully reverse all of those negative things that have happened. Right now, it's a really difficult climate. Anti-Semitism has been increasing year over year from what we've seen in the last few years to levels that are really unprecedented. We are definitely seeing increased amounts of anti-Semitism in school, whether it's swastikas being painted on the walls, whether there are pennies being thrown at kids, but also recognizing many Jewish people. We also have this element of white privilege. So we can walk down the street and not be seen as Jewish and be able to kind of, walk on. And there's that really interesting dichotomy of being a minority, but also not being necessarily seen as a minority. And that can be a struggle for Jewish people, especially too when they're kind of witness to people talking about others. People are talking about Jewish people and they're right there and they're like, well, actually, I am Jewish. It's really difficult, I would say, being a young Jewish person now because they're perhaps getting treated like a minority, treated poorly. I would say for themselves, learn facts and myths about about the Jewish people so that they are armored with information. As far as the general non-Jewish community, it's just, being an ally and just standing up. And when you see someone being bullied in any which way, whether they're Jewish, Black, Latino, whatever, just stand up and say that's not okay.
Going forward, I hope you use the insight and knowledge that you've gained while watching this documentary to make an impact in your community. Thank you for watching.